It's funny the things that you take for granted when they're taken away from you. I was 21. I was meeting all sorts of different people. I was dreaming of some important job in the fashion industry. Moving forward with my life and going on a certain career path. That was, what I dreamt to do. I had a group of friends. I had the energy to keep up with them and to be social. I first started noticing I was falling asleep in certain classes, but then it became increasingly worse and worse to the point where once I started working, every time I sat down, I would fall asleep. Just to kind of go over a little bit of what people with narcolepsy go through, there's two different types of narcolepsy. There's type 1, which is narcolepsy with cataplexy. Cataplexy is a sudden weakening of your muscles, and it could be all over or in certain parts of your body. And it usually coincides with a shift in your emotions. Sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, and for me, I would have these terrible nightmares of not being able to wake up. It took the better part of 18 years for me to get a diagnosis. So you can imagine going through all of those years, knowing that there's something wrong with you, knowing that there are treatments out there, and not being able to have access to that. And I would go to the doctor, and because I also have PCOS and had a weight problem, they would say that it was because of my weight or because I was depressed, not taking me seriously, to not really listen to what was wrong with me. By the time I was 39, finally getting the diagnosis and then being put on a path to treatment. For me, it's about living a healthy lifestyle and doing things that will benefit me on a mental, spiritual, and physical level. I think a big key to a lot of my empowerment is finding a community of people who have the same experience. I think one of the biggest epiphanies that I've had in my illness journey, I realized that things only get better when you make them better. I spent almost 2 decades living my life according to somebody else's plan. And I think the realization that I don't have to do that has been the most empowering part of my illness journey. You're not going to follow everybody else's path. You are going to have to make your own path. It's entirely within your control how you go about doing that, which is the empowering part of it. You can write your own story. You can set your own trajectory, and that is really empowering, and that is very energizing and uplifting and motivating. I'm meant for something greater than that. I have a story, I have a passion, I have an experience I think other people need to know about, and that's really empowering. You got to meet yourself halfway. For me, it's about modifying, abbreviating, and coming up with contingency plans in order to make the things happen that I want to happen. There are ways that you can connect with your kids, and again, it's that adapt, modify, contingency plans. I enjoy spending time with my kids. I truly enjoy being present and there with my kids, and it doesn't matter exactly what we're doing, but just the fact that we're in a similar proximity with each other, truly present, is what's most important. My journey to get a master's degree was reflecting upon my experience within the industry and how having narcolepsy really affected the way that I was perceived in work. That inspired me to pursue studies of inclusivity. But I think the key for me was how it's those things that make you part of the periphery instead of being truly included. There's still a really long way to go for companies to really accept and embrace and adapt and modify their practices so that people who have talents, who have drive, who have passion, but may not have the stamina or may not have the health to complete things in this socially constructive way, but they still have those abilities to fulfill those job requirements. And so that's been a kind of driving force, is that I really want to see change happen. There's a big learning curve out there once you get a diagnosis, or even when you're searching for a diagnosis, when you're not feeling well and you can't explain it. The goal is to help as many people as possible who have chronic conditions manage their lives to the point where they can start feeling fulfilled, where they can achieve what they want to achieve, where they can derive meaning from their new story. So for us to be able to compile all of the different ideas, methodologies, interventions that we have firsthand experience with is the driving force behind what we're doing. That's why we're here.